I think this will help us all. So now, African philosophy started as a result of the view of the whites about Africans. Now, the view that they have the perception that we do not have a philosophy of our own, we lack rational thinking, and so on. Like egocentrism, if you remember, and they colonized us, and in their colonization, they tried to abolish our culture, our way of life, our thoughts and ideas, calling them pagans and something that is not worthy to be termed as a philosophy. So they have the view that we don't have our own philosophy, and this after colonization, with the birth of African scholars who rose up and came about with various uh, response to the Europeans that we really do have a philosophy. We really do have a philosophy now. The background was that the whites claimed that we do not have a philosophy, and so African scholars came up with works that showed that we have a philosophy, and these works were mainly in the traditional stories of the Africans, folklores, proverbs, and so on. And that if you look at these folklores and stories, they have deep philosophical meaning and they are enriched with wisdom. So that's just the basic background. Now, before we move further, let's talk about give a definition of what African philosophy is. Now, first off, what is philosophy? Now, philosophy is a second order discipline, and when we say second order discipline, the first order is about gathering facts, looking for facts about this, then making claims like it is like in psychology now when they say they can study man. Now philosophy will go there and look at those claims that can man actually be studied, is it possible? So philosophy gather facts, look deeply into the ideas and the works of all every other discipline, ways of life and so on, customs and traditions, and try to find out the rationality in those views. Now that is the work of philosophy. Now, I want to talk about Africa itself. Africa can be looked at in two terms. In terms of geographical location, like the continent of Africa, the that is the map of Africa, right? A location, a continent on its own. And then in the other aspects where we can look at African philosophy, we can also see it as a race. These people are the black, so this set of people represents the black race. They are Africans, so it's different from their location. It is talking about personal, so that is on Africa. So when we say African philosophy, this is not a definite definition, because philosophy does not have a definite definition, but we can see African philosophy as the philosophy by an African on Africa. The philosophy by an African on Africa. That is the philosophy that is being practiced by or the works that is being done by an African philosopher on Africa. So that is the view on philosophy. Now, there is a question of, is there an African philosophy? Various claims were put to counter the fact that Africa does not have a philosophy. Now, one of these claims is that Africa does not have scholars or philosophers like Plato, like Aristotle, like Socrates, and then because they do not have philosophers like this, then we cannot say they have a philosophy, because who can we attach this particular wisdom to, this particular proverb to? Who can we attach it to? And there can be no knowledge without a creator of that idea. So if we say we have a philosophy, who created so knowledge? So that was one of the major arguments against African philosophy. But the response was that Africans do not attach philosophy to a personal fame. Like this is the philosophy of Babalola, this is the philosophy of Emeka. No, it is a communal something. When we say it's a communal something, it's the philosophy of the whole community. And wisdoms, all these stories, all these folklores and so on, they were passed from generation to generation without a single attachment to a particular person. So the argument that because we don't have Socrates and so on is not strong enough to overrule the fact that we have our own philosophy. For example, let's even take a look at the Western philosophers like Socrates. He doesn't have a work of his own at all. Socrates does not have a work of his own. So, should we say that Socrates does not have a philosophy? No, it's not possible. So many of them like that. Now, one of the scholars who was of the support of African philosophy and who was able to defend us that we have a philosophy was J.S. Mbiti. Now, J.S. Mbiti was of the view that if we want to understand African philosophy, we have to understand African philosophy from the ways of life, from the way Africans speak, from the way they act, from the way they think, what goes on in their mind. That is how we are going to understand African philosophy. To J.S. Mbiti. Now you can listen to that again. Now, they countered this claim that if you are going to talk about the human nature of African, then you are not talking about philosophy for real. You are talking about socio-cultural anthropology. So that was the claim against J.S. Mbiti. You know, there are so many claims. They said when we say tradition and folklores and proverbs, that it means that we don't have a philosophy, that we were just trying to use those proverbs as a cheap substitute for philosophy and make claim that yes, we have philosophy. Now, other scholars were of the view that we have to look philosophy in the modern ways now and not like not just tradition alone. Now, this view was that philosophy has grown into a modern sense. Now, philosophy is now compared to science. You know, science seeks to solve universal problem, and so for us to make claims of philosophy now, we have to merge both our old traditions and modern works together. Not only tradition. We cannot only claim that our tradition is our philosophy or the folklore is philosophy. We have to bring it back with modern works. And one of the propagator of this view was Utoji. Yes, Utoji. Now, to Utoji, his own was even a bit extreme. He tried to exclude our tradition and folklore from the true philosophy, and he was of the view that you see it's not a modern word. We can't say a philosophy is the philosophy of one particular community. No, every single individual can go about, make research, bring about ideas, and like everyone can have each works on various aspects of life, and these works are definitely going to help us take a look about how our own philosophy as African can help us put us on the map. You understand? But there's a little fault here, because Utoji trying to exclude our traditional view was also trying to base to relegate the fact that we truly have a philosophy. And like the lecturer said, he was trying to demarcate. He was trying to base the demarcation between African and Western philosophy on racial lines. and the requirement for his own philosophy ignore the possibility that the work of an alien can actually have effects on the work of other country. Now when we said that, we are trying to mean, like, okay, look at someone like Karl Marx. His work on capitalism is and socialism. There is not an American, but his works influenced America, influenced Russia too. So if you are trying to exclude the traditional and saying that no, we have to be modernized, then you are also saying that anyone can do anything that is not anyone that is not an African can actually do a work about African, excluding us from the fact that we really do have a philosophy of our own, and we can create a philosophy of our own, and that is our own, not that someone else can just create a philosophy for Africans. So that is where Utoji's position is a bit faulty. So you get that if you look more into your notes. So that is that on African philosophy, the background and the arguments on African philosophy, the existence of an African philosophy. Now, we if yeah, this video is just to help you understand a bit more about it, and African philosophy is still growing. Actually, it's still growing, and we can always look at find out more on how we can truly develop our own philosophy, and definitely our wisdom did not grow on trees. We do have wisdom, and we do have rational thinking, and we do have proverbs too, stories that are deep in knowledge. So that is it. Now the next class will be talking about straight up to the Yoruba traditional thought, the concept of Ori and human